right, so let's get into this. Why I quit teaching to start homeschooling because um, it's like all the rave and all the buzz, I guess. So yeah, let's talk about it. Anyway, so I have been in education for over 15 years now, a really, really, really long time. And the crazy thing about it is, all I ever wanted to do was teach, right? So when I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a teacher, one of three things, right? Then I went to high school for at a magnet for teaching. It was a what is it? School of Education and Social Services, right? And so then I went, to SFA, went for education as well, got out, taught in the local public schools. I traveled abroad, I taught overseas. So, yeah, so what happened, right? When I first got pregnant and had my first baby, which was about 2016. I had my first baby. Even right before I had my baby, my whole mantra, my whole mind frame was like, yeah, we gonna have these babies. Excuse me, you got like 5 years to have as many babies as possible because I'm gonna be ready to get back to work and just kind of hit that trajectory of just being, like principal and superintendent. And I was ready to climb the corporate ladder. And because I loved education so much and because I had my background, I was like, when I get home or while I'm home with the kids, I'll prepare them for kindergarten so that they gonna be at the top of their class. They're gonna be the best students ever. And I'm going back to work. I'm not gonna be home with no kids, right? And so, yeah, you wanna make God laugh, tell them what you thought you was gonna do. So yeah, I never intended on staying home. This was not some life goal of mine. I didn't even know about home. As a matter of fact, I was so judgmental as a teacher that when we would get kids that came in into the classroom that said that they were homeschooled, some of my colleagues would kind of be like, oh Lord, like how much work we're gonna have to put into this kid. Oh Jesus. Because they ain't doing it right, so we got to put in double work, right? I had this stigma about homeschool kids. They ain't learning nothing, they ain't doing nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, so 2016, I had my first baby, and I'm off. I don't know, something about those motherly instincts kicked in or something. I don't know. That was just my story. But 2016 November, I had my baby, and I get time with her, and I think I took my full 12 weeks of maternity leave. And so November I didn't go back until like March, right? And come January, February, I'm now trying to make sure, because I'm nursing, so I'm trying to make sure that the baby's going to take a bottle, and I'm getting anxious because now I have to go back to work and, getting somebody here to watch her. And I'm like, I don't really want to leave, right? And so we ended up getting somebody to come to watch my baby. And I go back to work March, and it's testing time. It's just a few more months before I get to come back and be with her for the summertime. Oh, but while I was gone for those 2 months, y'all, I was getting calls and texts and pictures like she took her first this, and she did this for the first time, and I was like, ain't gonna be able to do this. I'm not going to be getting no daycare reports, and because I've worked in daycares too, so I know about filling out that form about how many ounces they ate and drank today, and nope, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And so that summer, now mind you, this is now 2017. I started my company, Best Start Learning. Shout out to Best Start, because I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to put 100% into other people's kids when I could pour into my own babies, right? And so Best Start Learning is, I believe that you are your child's best start. Yes, we send them to school. Yes, we have different partners and other stakeholders that help us build up our kids. I know. But I am of the mindset that whoever that baby is with, sometimes it's not the biological family. It may be adopted family. It could be grandparents, could be aunts and uncles. But for me in my house, mama and daddy, we are our children's best start. And so as I was pumping that into everybody else, to encourage parents to spend time with their kids and help their kids learn and help their kids grow, I believed it for myself. And that summer, like I said, when I started the company, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here with my own babies. And I talked to my husband about it that summer. And I was like, what do you think about this? And I really didn't have an idea about where homeschooling would go. I didn't know anything about homeschooling. I never knew any homeschooling families, especially that looked like me. I had no clue what we were about to do. I just knew I loved teaching, I loved learning, and I love my babies, and I wanted to be home with them. And so, yeah, my husband was on board with it. He was like, go for it. And now this is an aside. The reason why and how we were able to do it is because when my husband and I got married, when we, we didn't even have a family yet. It was just him and I. We bought our home and we made financial decisions based off of one income, based on the basically like the wisdom that we received from our spiritual leaders, right? Shout out to Demonstrate Church. But yeah, so when I wanted to stay home with my babies, it didn't hurt us because everything that I was doing and making while I was working was getting put up, right? So we had this nice little egg, and we had time and resources to be able to do that. So here come August, my baby's like 1 or 2 years old, and I'm taking pictures of her first day of school, and she's just like one. Because look, now when you homeschool, you have all of these different types of homeschool. In the state of Texas, you really could just do whatever you want when they just trust that you say you're gonna teach your babies. That's on you. So you got, secular homeschool, you got traditional homeschool, you got unschooling. People don't want to do nothing with school at all. It's just so many choices and so many options and so many different ways. And so my style of homeschool, I like to look at it kind of like eclectic, because I patchwork a bunch of different things just from my background, from things that I know that work. Statistically, for kids, through my experience and just through motherhood, and then, gaining insight from other homeschool moms. I just take all of that and I just do what works for my family, right? And in the meantime, while I'm doing that for my family, I also help other families do, what they can for their families. I work both with public school children as well as homeschooled families. But listen, so that was 2017. It's 2024. And I got 4 babies now, y'all. 4 babies. 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 10 months. She'll be 10 months in a few days. And does it get crazy around here sometimes? Absolutely. Does my husband say sometimes he feel like he living inside of a classroom? Absolutely. But I wouldn't trade this for anything. I have to sit back and think about what I'm doing and why I'm doing this and why I decided to do it. And when I think about all of that, man, there's nothing greater. And so now that you see the trajectory of a lot of people beginning to homeschool, and especially when COVID happened in 2020, everybody was kind of forced to do this. Listen, if you're thinking about doing it, come on over to the homeschooling side, right? I just kind of wanted to give you guys the insight from a teacher's perspective, having been in the classroom, why I decided to homeschool. I decided to homeschool for one, just because I wanted to be able to pour into my babies the values and the academics that I feel are important, right? And then also, things are changing in the school system. Things are really changing, and teachers are leaving, the profession in droves, and a lot of other things are entering into those classrooms in droves. It's just so many things. It's so many things. And so being able to have the autonomy and the authority to pour into our kids what we want, how we want, and it's just been a really, really, really big blessing for us. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This is the last thing. Y'all know how people be like, oh my God, they grow up so fast, and I feel like, I've missed this and I've missed that. That's one thing that I can say that I get to enjoy kind of with homeschooling, like, because I'm here with them and I get to see the little nuances in their behaviors, and I get to watch them grow, and I get to teach them, and I know what trips them up. I see how they learn. Especially, I got a young black boy, right? And my son is bigger than the average 2-year-old. Everybody thinks he's like 3 or 4. So I get fearful because I'm not fearful. I'm not fearful, but I think about how it would be or it could be if he were in the classroom setting or in just a group setting in general, and people see this baby where they're thinking he's 4 and 5 years old. Well, surely he should be able to articulate. He should be able to keep his hands to himself. He should be able to do certain things, but developmentally, he's not there yet. He's just a toddler, right? So a lot of people, when they first meet my son, they're thinking, oh, goodness, he's a big boy. He's just 2, right? And so it's so many things, y'all, we could talk about, but I just had to leave that right there and give you guys my little tidbit about why I decided to homeschool. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, y'all drop those down in the comments and we'll do some follow-up videos. But here's to part 1 of our homeschool and Invest Our channel. Love you guys. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.